Hello everybody, this is JT Productions and welcome back to another preview and prediction video. Today I will be doing the Miami Hurricanes. Last season, the Miami Hurricanes went 7-5, 5-3 in the ACC with a win. I believe their bowl game got canceled for some reason. Anyways, their losses came against Alabama in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Michigan State at home, against Virginia at home by 2 points, at North Carolina in a shootout, and then at Florida State. Kind of disappointing losses for Miami last year. They did, however, beat Pittsburgh, who ended up being the ACC champion, and they ended up squeaking a win away from Appalachian State. Well, let's see what they're working with this year. They are returning a junior transfer, or they got a junior transfer in, Frank Ladson from Clemson, who will hopefully help them out on offense a little bit. Xavier Restrepo is coming back as well, and they have another sophomore, Keyshawn Smith, coming back. They lost Charleston Rambo from last year, but hopefully those guys will be able to show up for quarterback Tyler Van Dyke. They also got a transfer in from Lackawanna College, Colby Young, who's a sophomore transfer. Now, like I said, at quarterback you have Tyler Van Dyke, who's going to be a pretty vital piece. He was a freshman last year, impressed a lot of people. I think he'll do fine. They also have Will Mallory, a redshirt senior tight end, coming back. And they also got Henry Parrish, a running back, sophomore transfer from Ole Miss. That will help a lot. They have Jalen Knighton, a sophomore as well. Running game should be fine as long as the somewhat veteran offensive line, besides left guard, holds up. On the offensive line, you have Zion Nelson, Jr., Jalen Rivers, redshirt freshman, Ja'Kai Clark, Jr., redshirt senior transfer, Justice Aluasion, and DJ Shafee, redshirt senior. So the offense, if the receivers pan out, should be fine for Miami, especially working in the ACC, not SEC. Defense, you have a young defensive line with redshirt, sophomore, and sophomore. And then you have two transfers in the linebacking position. Mitchell Agood, redshirt senior transfer from UCLA by way of Riverside Community College. And then Caleb Johnson, redshirt senior transfer from UCLA by way of Texas and Fullerton College. Then you have a junior, Keontre Smith, coming back. In the secondary, you have redshirt junior Gilbert Frison, that's a linebacker, Gilbert Frison, linebacker. In the secondary, you have junior transfer Tyreek Stevenson, Darrell Porter Jr., a sophomore transfer from West Virginia. You have Carmen Kitchen, sophomore, James Williams, sophomore. At safety positions, then Te'Cory Couch, a junior nickelback. Now, last year, your head coach, Manny Diaz, got you to 7-5. Pretty good from the last couple of seasons to where you were down a little bit. He's gone. In comes Mario Cristobal. Mario Cristobal is a great head coach. He's a great recruiter, great at what he does. I think that in the next couple of years, he's going to turn Miami around. And we'll see how he does this year. Now, recruiting standings. Miami, as we know, the past couple of years have not been the best. So, let's see here. Miami is number 15 averaged over the last 5 years. This recruiting ranking is by Athlon Sports, and it averages your last 5 seasons of recruiting rankings. So, like in 2022, they're 15. 2021, they were 11. 2020, they were 16th. 2019, they were 27th. And 2018, they were 8th. So that's how the kind of recruiting works with Athlon Sports. So not bad. The only time that they were in less than the teens was after, I believe, first year of Manny Diaz after Mark Richt had retired. So, I mean, pretty good for the ACC. it looks like besides Clemson, they are I guess you'd say Notre Dame as well if you want to qualify them in the ACC. I personally don't, but they are the second best recruiter in the ACC of the past 5 years. So, now, how are they going to do this year? And how can they win their division? Can they make it to the ACC championship? Well, let's see. Week 1, you start off at home against Bethune-Cookman. This will be a tune-up game. This game and Southern Miss will be a tune-up game. You'll be fine. You'll start the season 2-0. Then's the big non-con game at Texas A&M. If you've seen my Texas A&M video, you know that I'm decently high on them. They're a great team. I just don't know if in year 1 with Mario Cristobal that y'all are going to go into a ruckus stadium like Texas A&M. It's a night game in Kyle Field at College Station. I don't think you're going to come out there with a win. Maybe if it was in Miami, I'd consider it, but I think Texas A&M is just a better team than you right now. So I think you start the season 2-1. Then you're back at home against Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders. Another tune-up game. You'll get a win. 3-1. Then you have your bye week at a pretty good time before your ACC schedule starts. I don't know, dude. This is a sneaky game right after the bye week. North Carolina at home. They've kind of had your number over the past 2 years. It's hard to say that they wouldn't in Cristobal's first year. However, you're better than them on paper. I'll give you that. But it's just something about Mac Brown's teams that always seem to have Miami's number. So I'm giving it to the Tar Heels, and I think they get the win over you. I think that you start the season 3-2 after week 6. Going into the game at Virginia Tech. You're going to win this game at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's going to be down this year. They lost most of their coaching staff and a lot of the guys that made last year's team good. They do have their quarterback. I forgot his name. But I don't know how Virginia Tech's going to be. I don't think they're going to be that decent. Then you have Duke at home. Win. Duke is nowhere near you right now. So that brings you to 5-2. Then next week you're at Virginia. This is going to be a tricky game for Miami as well. Virginia is not a pushover, but I think you get the win in Charlottesville and go to 6-2. Then you have Florida State at home, a revenge game for Miami. Florida State's going to be comparable, but not enough, I don't think. I think Miami's just on maybe a tier higher than Florida State at this point. Anything can happen. It did last year. But I think Mario Cristobal is going to bring some consistency to this Miami team. And I think you get the win. Go to 7-2. Then the next week you're at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech has played you hard the past couple of years. So it could be a very close game. But I think talent's going to outweigh it in the end. And I think you get the win in Bobby Dodd. So you are 8-2 going into probably your biggest game of the season at Clemson. Now, Clemson, one thing they got is a stout defensive line. If this was first thing last year, you would probably just get blown out by them just because De'Aaron King, great running quarterback, he's just not the most proficient passer at the Power 5 level. So, now that you have Van Dyke, who's more of a pro-style guy, I think you get the win. I think Miami goes into Clemson, gets the win for the first time in a while, and punches their ticket to the ACC championship, maybe at this point. Then you get your final game of the year against Pitt in Hard Rock. I think you take a loss. I think at this point, Pitt, and this point in the season, Keaton Slovis has finally got his group together, and they're rolling. They may be They may be fighting for a spot in the ACC championship as well, because the ACC, it's either this year or next year, is going to they're getting rid of divisions. I think it's next year. So they would be fighting with Clemson for a spot in the Atlantic Division. But I think you lose here and finish the season 9-3, and I think this I think would be your best record since 2018, since Mark Richt left. Not a bad first season for Cristobal, and I wouldn't doubt if this is how it was. I mean, the games you lose are subject to change. Like, you could, instead of losing to North Carolina, you could lose to Virginia. Or you could, instead of lose to Pitt, lose at Clemson. Either way, I'm stuck with you going 9-3. So, anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed trying to make it through all the Power 5 teams by week 0, which is the end of August, I believe. So if you would want me to do a specific team, let me know down in the comments. And anyways, go Dogs.